friends, thank you for joining me again. Stuart Pilkington here. Welcome to the podcast. Now today we're going to explore one of the most important principles from the yoga tradition, or at least to me personally, something that I've found the most supportive really out of any of the teachings that I found in yoga. And also it's one of the most misunderstood principles in yoga. Now we're taking it from the sutras, specifically the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and it's a term tapas, or the term tapas. It has many different meanings, but it's often translated to mean discipline. Now the idea of discipline runs through the heart of many spiritual and philosophical traditions, but the way in which we understand it and connect to it in the modern world is quite different from its true meaning. In the West, discipline often carries very negative connotations. We associate it with punishment or strictness, even like a violence. The word feels rigid, as though like discipline is something that's thrust upon us, forced upon us because we're not doing something right, and that it's doing something against our will. But we could flip that idea entirely. If we look at the etymology, so kind of the root of the word discipline, there's something surprising there. If we use the Latin, then discipline shares the same root as disciple, which, think about that term disciple, it refers to someone who follows a teacher or a practice out of love and respect. A disciple is devoted to learning, not because they fear punishment, but because they're committed to growth. So this also reminds me then of a teaching from Alan Watts, the great speaker. He compares discipline to a sculptor. He says that a sculptor doesn't chisel away at a block of marble out of anger and violence. They work with dedication and patience and love because they love their craft. The ability to produce a beautiful work of art doesn't come from fear, it comes from a deep connection to the process. It comes from appreciation of the craft itself, this gift that they've been given that they can engage with. Now this is like how I would think of tapas and discipline in yoga. Discipline in this sense isn't about forcing yourself to do something against your will. It's about showing up for yourself and showing up for something you love. Even when it's hard, even when you don't necessarily feel like you want to do it in that moment. It is about commitment, it is about consistency, but importantly, it's born out of a love for the practice itself. So in yoga, if we think of tapas as one of these principles, and again, as outlined by Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the word actually translates to heat or to burn. So there's this idea of transformation in there. This ability to change, this ability to push through challenges to again show up for yourself consistently and show up for your practice. It's where we get that inner fire, that desire for growth and transformation. But here's the thing with tapas, it doesn't have to be harsh. It's not about punishing yourself. It's not about forcing your way through pain or discomfort. It's really about cultivating a loving, dedicated approach to your practice, but even when things are difficult. I can tell you from my personal experience, discipline in yoga amplifies its benefits. Yes, a single one-off class, a single enlightened experience is great. Of course it is. But real transformation happens when you practice consistently, when you cultivate the discipline to show up on the mat on a regular basis. And again, importantly, even when you don't feel like it. Contrary to popular belief, I don't wake up wanting to meditate every day. I don't wake up wanting to practice every day. Like everyone else, there are days when I don't feel motivated. There are many days when I don't feel motivated. But I've learned over time that if I only practiced when I felt like it, if I only practiced when I felt good and excited and motivated, then I wouldn't practice nearly as much as I do. It's discipline that gets me on my mat. And then once I'm there, the practice takes over. It carries me through the session. Now, the best part is that studies have shown that discipline is a skill that then bleeds into other parts of our life. As it grows with a practice, when you cultivate discipline in one aspect of your life, it actually starts to spill over into other areas. The more you practice showing up for yourself, the more you practice working through life in a disciplined manner, the easier it becomes to apply to other aspects of your work, your relationships, and your personal life. Without going too scientifically in this podcast, it works on something called your dopamine reward system. Dopamine, the pleasure drug, is released into our body when we get this sense of achievement, when we have achieved or overcome something. Now, the unfortunate thing about the modern world is that we can get hits of pleasure from doing very little, from not achieving anything at all, from no discipline practice. We can get it from food, we can get it from social media likes, we can get it from our phone devices, we can get it from computers and gaming. But we can also get it from disciplined action. And the more we engage with disciplined action, the more we start to build a relationship with, we get pleasure from having achieved things, from having moved through challenging times. That's the real benefit and the real goal of disciplined action. So the next time that you think of discipline, shift your perspective. Instead of viewing it as something that's negative or harsh, that you've got to force yourself into doing things against your will, instead think of it as devotion. Devotion to yourself, devotion to your practices, and to your own personal well-being and growth. Just like the sculptor that we said with Alan Watts, their passion, their love, and their precision for their craft leads them into creating these beautiful works of art. Well, that's each of us. We're the sculptor of our own lives. And if we approach them with love and with disciplined action, we get opportunity to create pretty much anything we want. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for sharing in, again, what to me is the most fundamental principle of yoga and of my personal practice, disciplined action based on love. Until next time, take care of yourself. I will see you again soon. Have a great day.